Hi guys, welcome back to the weird side of YouTube. I'm your host, author DC Knipe, and this is the Writing Rainbow, the show where I talk about my writing, your writing, writing genres, how to get published, blah blah blah, everything that has to do with writing. And I'm manic because I've written my pills. But today we're going to talk about my new writing project, which is short stories. Let's go. All right, let's get weird. As you may or may not have noticed, I have been uploading a lot of short story video content for YouTube, and I'm very proud of them. The first one was a remake of one that I wrote a really long time ago, like 3 or 4 years ago, for YouTube. And it was like a collaboration video where I also read two other creators' short stories that were Halloween themed. It's called The Devil, and the remake is actually expanded. I think I added two more pages to it. It's basically about a young man who is very creative, very artistic, but he isn't where he wants to be in life, and his partner is kind of a douche to him, and he basically finds out what he wants to do for the rest of his life from a very unexpected source. Let's leave it at that. The second short story that I uploaded is called Lovesick. And Lovesick is actually a short story I wrote in high school as a project for my literature class. And the assignment was to take something. Spoiler alert, by the way. The assignment was to take something that another person created, like a show, book, movie, song, whatever, and video game, and poem, whatever have you, and completely take the subject matter in a completely different direction than the author intended. So I took the song Don't Speak by No Doubt, which is a very sad, like, guttural, emotional breakup song, and I turned it into, it's still a breakup story, but I'm not going to spoil it for you, so no spoilers. It's still a breakup story, but there's a twist at the end that has another whole, like, horrifying element to it, so listen to it, you'll love it. The next is Ember, which is a short story I wrote recently about a cat, which was inspired by my partner's cat, Hallie. Ember is a guardian. She protects her girl, her owner, and the girl's family from all kinds of supernatural beings, and she's pretty brave and courageous, and that was my first attempt at writing like a semi family friendly story, because most of my stuff is really fucked up and weird, or just kind of twisted in some kind of way, or at least has cuss words in it. So that was my first attempt. It's still, I think it would be okay for kids to read. I don't know, but it's from the point of view of a cat who battles supernatural entities. So that was fun. The next one's called Abduction, and I did write a version of this a long time ago. It's basically about alien abduction. That's all I can tell you without spoiling the entire thing. A lot of my stories rely on twists, especially the short stories, and without the twists, it doesn't have that much of a kick. So I'm not going to be able to spoil a lot of this for you. But I did write a version of this when I was in high school, but I did not like it, so I started over and rewrote it from the beginning. So yeah, that's Abduction. The next one is The Merboy, which is one that I actually wrote this year. It's about a young boy who lives in the woods. Well, not in the woods, but he lives near the woods in a trailer with his abusive parents. Well, his abusive dad and his neglectful mom. And he's obsessed with Little Mermaid, like I was when I was a kid. And he meets a witch who in the woods who maybe can make his wish come true. You'll have to read it. The next one is called The Dream. And this was actually based on a dream that I had when I came out of the closet. Well, I was forced out of the closet as gay at 16 years old. And it was a very tumultuous time of my life. I was so emotionally sick that I was literally vomiting all the time. Like, my parents were super emotionally abusive to me. They wouldn't let me leave the house. They were using religion as like a weapon toward me. It was bad. I wanted to die, but this was one of the really weird, surreal, dark, gutturally emotional dreams that I would have, and wake up like crying or something. And I'm not going to spoil it for you, but I like it. I also have a novella available called Voiceless, which was based on and inspired by the same dream that this short story is based on. But both of those projects are very different. But link in description to lulu.com if you want to see the novella. And the next is called Fallen, an angelic short story, which is the longest one that I have written so far. The video is 33 minutes long, and I think it's like 25 pages. But it is about a girl who has a guardian angel who basically leaves heaven in order to protect her girl, and that makes her fallen, like she loses her divinity. But I can't spoil it anything else. It's one of actually the first religious fiction pieces I've written since high school. I used to write a lot of religious fiction in high school, and I actually really enjoyed writing this one. It was very pretty. Usually when I write about religion, it's very dark and like horror. But this is a very pretty, hopeful, uplifting story, and I'm really proud of it. The next one is called The Unicorn, and this is about a failed author and mother who recently got divorced, and this story is about her finding a unicorn, and also what's the word, healing her inner child, becoming a better mother, basically a reawakening, if you will, in many, 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 many ways. And I really love this short story as well. The one I just finished making, The Fairy, is a very challenging video I had to make. I made the decision, if I messed up something while reading on this story, I kept it in because I wanted it to sound manic, not only because it was the point of view of a young character, a child is the narrator in this story. I also wanted her to seem really manic and hyper and fairy-esque, like pixie-esque, if that makes any sense. It's about a young girl who feels out of place in her family at this point because she just had a baby brother. Her mother and father just had a son, and she feels like there's no place for her left because her parents are giving all their time to this new baby. And she kind of tries to escape those feelings by pretending she's a fairy, but eventually she meets a fairy who is also having trouble in her own life and wants to become a human. So misadventures kind of ensue. This is actually a remake of the very first short story I have ever written, which I was in kindergarten. And this was the first short story I ever wrote. I did not have the original, but I remember the plot points very well. Originally, it was not a fairy; it was a mermaid. But I already have 2 short stories about merfolk, and the mermaids were like the size of fairies in the story. So I thought it would just make more sense to be a fairy. So I changed it to fairy, but the rest of everything is like beat for beat exactly what happens, and I love it. I'm very proud of it. But I'm going to have like a link to this right here for you guys to check out the playlist if you want. I'm very proud of these short stories. I don't know if I'm going to make a book with all these short stories in it. I don't think I can now because I only have 9. The next one for this month is going to be called The Merman, and it's a sequel to The Merboy. That's all it's from a different point of view. That's all I can tell you. No, I can't spoil any of these stories. They are short stories, but a lot of them have twists that if you already know the twist, the punch, the guttural, like, is not going to hit you as it should without that twist. But yeah, it'll be 10 all in all at the end of September, and then I have at least 2 to 3 planned for October. I might start my fairy tales series in October. I'm not sure yet. I do want to start with Snow White. And that's just going to be my versions of like fairy tales. Not like novels like I want to do for Little Mermaid and Beauty and the Beast and Alice in Wonderland. But these are just going to be little short stories in the vein of these, but like my versions. They're going to be in medieval fantasy settings, not like the novels that I've been telling you guys about that are going to be like modern retellings. But yeah, links in description for music. Basically anything you can think of. I make music. I write. I did have a shop, but it's down right now for some reason. But we'll get it back up. But I love you guys, and I hope you enjoy these short story videos because I am enjoying writing them. I am challenging myself to write in different perspectives. For instance, in the unicorn, it's from the point of view of a cishet woman. In the fairy, it's the point of view of a little black girl, and I'm obviously not a little black girl. Every character in the fairy is actually black. Lovesick is from the point of view of a young woman in her 20s. Ember's from the point of view of a cat. I'm challenging myself by writing in first person these characters that I normally never would have. Usually it's just a gay man that I'm writing in the perspective of. This is super fun. And it might not be great quality, but that's why they're YouTube videos and short stories, and they're just for fun. They're just for practice. And I'm having a great time, and I hope you guys are enjoying them as well. So I love you. Bye.